And now, it's BoomerLife, lifestyle discussion designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is BoomerLife on CIL 650.
And welcome to the show on CL 650. I'm Zach Spencer. This is Boomer Life. And today we're talking about the latest innovation in hearing with NexGen Hearing. We'll be speaking about the workings of your ear from an expert perspective and also real solutions for those suffering from hearing loss. Joining us in studio is a voice you hear regularly here from NexGen Hearing is Dr. Ted Venema, along with Mike Henwood from the downtown Victoria NexGen location. Welcome, gentlemen, to both of you.
Hey.
Thank you. And good to have you. Now, we'll do it opposite, Ted, because we've had you on many times.
Yeah.
So we'll let Mike talk a bit about his background. So, Mike, why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself, NexGen Hearing, and what you do?
Okay, so I'm from Victoria. Basically lived there all but 3 years of my life. And I won't tell you how old I am. But,
Can we guess from the sound of your voice? No, you can't do that.
But so I'm from Victoria and got into the hearing aid field 15 years ago. And I was just telling Ted on the way how I did it, and it was just someone mentioned it at a Christmas party, and really? I was looking for a second career, and away I went. And
do you find it rewarding dealing with people who are helping with their hearing issues?
Sometimes it's shockingly rewarding, and there's difficult cases to work with, but even some of those difficult cases, they can just be thrilled. And so that is rewarding.
Now, where is your location? It says here downtown Victoria. You might as well give it a plug. You're here.
Yeah, so it's a brand new office on Fort Street, right downtown Victoria, right on the sidewalk level, almost to Government and Fort.
Okay. Yeah. Now, NexGen is a new sort of development. It was a different name before and has come under an umbrella, right, Ted?
Used to be on the mainland here. Was the offices were mainland hearing.
Right.
And then on the island and in the interior, it was NexGen. Now those two have folded in together under the umbrella of NexGen. So.
All right. And you have been brought in with NexGen Hearing sort of as an educator, right?
Yeah.
So give us your background. You have a post-hole digger, as you like to call it.
Yeah, post-hole digger.
PhD in audiology.
Yes.
So explain your background. How did you get to this?
I stumbled in it completely.
Did you hear it at a Christmas party too?
No, I was walking up Hastings in Vancouver with my girlfriend, and she said to me, "You know what? You should become a speech therapist."
Why is that?
She said you talk a lot. So I applied at
Was that a backhanded compliment? Maybe it was.
Maybe it was to get me out of her hair for a while. At any rate, I went to Western Washington University in Bellingham, and I started studying speech language pathology, and really didn't like it as much as I liked the sister science audiology, because all speech therapists study some audiology, and all audiology studies speech. Speech and hearing, they go together. So I took a lateral shift into audiology and never looked back.
And you went on to get your PhD?
Yeah, at the University of Oklahoma some years later. So I worked for 3 years at the Canadian Hearing Society in Toronto after I got my master's, and then went on for a post-hole digger or PhD degree, because I like to teach it more than do it.
Right. And so you work with the NexGen operators like Mike here. Do you go in and
I do a lot of presentations for them. I'm contractual.
Right.
I'm a contractual laborer. A shiftless ne'er-do-well.
So you bring your expertise in at a higher level. And you know what, Mike, you have to agree with me. Dr. Ted Venema is one of the best speakers, and he makes a hard-to-understand theories easy to understand, don't you think?
Yeah, and that's why we have a presentation to some group of people, and we bring him in because they're just
mesmerized
by his presentation and his antics and on, because you've got to keep people's attention, and it's hard not to watch.
I did
a
run
bouncing ball.
Yeah.
So when did you figure out early on that you had this ability to explain a complex part of the anatomy simply, and also doing it in an entertaining way? Did you evolve into this sort of larger than life personality, or did you start out that way?
I totally evolved into it. I was a brand new audiologist in 1988, and one time the Canadian National Institute for the Blind called up and said, "Hey, can you speak on hearing loss to our Canadian National Institute for the Blind. That's the first talk I ever gave. And I had, what do you call, overhead transparencies.
Yeah,
there was no such thing as PowerPoint on a computer.
Right.
And I talked all about the ear, and I remember just really thoroughly enjoying that. And then one thing grew into another. I worked at a hearing aid company called Unitron. It's a Canadian hearing aid manufacturer, and they had me doing a lot of talks, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I kind of grew into it.
Now, Mike, have you seen a change in hearing aid devices in just I consider 15 years a short time that you've been involved?
So 15 years. When I started, there was still a lot of analog hearing aids. And some of them, we had tiny little screwdrivers, and there was tiny little trim pots that we would actually adjust a little screwdriver for bass and treble and compression and things like that. And the digital ones were just starting. Analog hearing aids actually could be controlled digitally on the front end, but the rest of the system was all analog. But, so it was starting then, and then almost every manufacturer a few years after I started was making everything digital.
Yeah.
So let's get into that. Dr. Ted Venema, let's start with you. So who are the main hearing aid manufacturers today, and what are they doing?
There's about 7 of them, 7-ish. Some come from Switzerland, some come from Denmark, some from the U.S., one from Canada. They seem to be... They used to specialize in one thing more than the other, and gradually now they all generally make equally good products. But the bigger fish ate the smaller ones, and so now you've got about 7 main players in the field.
Is it like the car business where they're always trying to outdo each other? Yep. Similar?
They're highly competitive, and every 6 months a new product comes out. And this happens with each one of those 7 manufacturers. So it's remarkable. There's always something new coming out, whether how they handle noise, how they handle difficult listening situations, and that's how you can tell your gold, bronze from silver from bronze hearing aids. I mean, it's how they handle difficult listening in noise situations. Are
there certain brands that, like you said, they all kind of do similar things, but are there certain brands, like you said, there's the gold, silver, and bronze.
Yeah.
So price is an issue, but also are there ones that are better at isolating voice or eliminating background or doing a combination of both?
It used to be that way. Like there was a company called Phonak, and there still is, Phonak. They were excellent at making directional microphones, like picking up sound in the direction you're facing, so as to increase the loudness of speech compared to noise. But the other companies all caught up to them, on that. And then there was a company called Widex, Widex, and they had the first digital hearing aid with noise reduction, digital noise reduction. And, well, the other companies all caught up to that one, too. So for a while, and then there was a company out of the U.S., Starkey, and 10, 15 years ago, they were masters at making the tiny little completely in-canal hearing aid. The ones that Ronald Reagan used to wear. And, this kind of stuff. But again, other companies learned how to do that too.
So we have the digital sound processing, we have the background elimination. Yep. What's the next frontier, do you think, that these companies are going to try to break down? Is there? Do you have any insight into what's coming?
Yeah, I'd like a hearing aid that wakes me up in the morning and makes coffee for me and whispers sweet nothings in my ear. And
well, here, I'll give you a call there.
And I think basically the hearing aids are getting better and better at handling noise, because that's the biggest complaint of hearing aid wearers is background noise.
Dr. Ted Venema, that's the voice of Dr. Ted Venema from NexGen Hearing. We also have Mike Henwood here from the downtown Victoria location, and we're talking about the advancements in hearing aids. So analog, as you mentioned, Mike, was the old way. Like on your stereo, you had bass and treble. You could adjust those and the volume, right? So how is it different? And what else can hearing aids do?
Well, analog hearing aids just changed sound into electricity, and then they amplify that electrical current, and then they change that back into sound. Digital has one more step, takes the electricity and changes it into digits. As soon as you can do that, you can do math. And with math and equations, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. So that's where the juggling and all the acrobats take place, is inside that digital signal processor. So hearing aids that were analog did not have digital noise reduction. And remember the old saw about hearing aids having that whistle? That feedback? Digital.
I've heard it because if you stood closely to somebody, you could hear it.
Absolutely. The people when you had those big beige banana hearing aids that you wore behind you.
And they're gone, right?
They're gone. And hearing aids today, the digital ones, have automatic whistle or feedback reduction. In other words, what they do is they pick up the sound of that whistle and they'll invert the phase and they'll have like cancellation, like noise cancellation headphones do. They'll knock out that annoying whistle.
And how quickly can a hearing aid adjust to changes in sound? Pretty quick?
Oh yeah, PDQ. That's not bad. It does take some battery drain at sometimes. The more complicated a digital algorithm, or command is, the more juice it can drain. But you know what? Companies have managed to overcome that as well. It's hearing aid battery life is at least 7 to 10 days. Isn't that usually right?
7 to 10 days. And some of them, they calculate and analyze environments like 100 times a second.
Now, are there any that you can rechargeable? Or are they all battery replacement?
There's rechargeable. There's actually, isn't there 2 companies there, Mike, that do rechargeable batteries?
For the longest time, there was just one company, and now there's a second player that's kind of gone to the next generation of rechargeable.
The NexGen.
Oh, sorry about that.
No pun intended.
All right. So what about hearing aids that talk to each other? What does that mean?
Well, that's quite a trip, too, because they can imitate the real-life listening situation. For example, if I turn sideways and your voice is hitting my right ear more than my left because I'm not facing you, the sound's going to be a bit louder to my right ear. Well, hearing aids that talk to each other can restore that perfect balance. And they can actually make the hearing aid listening situation imitate the real-life situation almost to a T.
And it's sort of like some kind of phasing, right? Like from left to right.
Yep.
And you can also take the wireless technology we have in our world today, whether it's our phone, if you're listening to your music from your phone, or the Bluetooth in your car, or even TVs, iPads, all that can go right into your ear, right?
Yeah. Mike, you've got a lot of experience fitting these things.
Yeah, I mean, today, it's as easy as, you have an iPhone and the client or patient is on the way out the door. Oh, let me pair that to your hearing aids that you just got. Right at the front counter, within 2 minutes, they've downloaded the app and it pairs and they're controlling their hearing aid with their phone.
So if the phone call is too loud or too low, they can dial it up or down from the phone?
From the phone.
Wow. And how many people are taking advantage of that for watching TV in bed or even in the living room, lying in bed with their hearing aids in? They could watch TV and have it in their ear, but their partner is asleep.
That's right.
Can you do that?
Yes, and especially with people who have fairly severe hearing losses, they really need that, and it just makes it much clearer in their for their word understanding, and their partner is not getting blasted out of it.
Well, we've all gone to visits, grandparents, and you walk up to the front, you can hear the TV because it's jacked right up, right? So, I mean, for somebody, say a partner whose hearing is relatively good in relation, they have to put up with the noisy TV, and this way you can turn it back down again.
That's right. Yeah, the TV can be turned to the normal hearing person's preference, and the person with the hearing loss wearing the hearing aids is getting the sound from the TV wirelessly streamed, as they say, by Bluetooth or whatever, straight to his or her hearing aids. So they're getting sculpted, customized, amplified sound right from the TV. Nice thing is it's all wireless, and they now they can understand what's going on, and the normal hearing person beside him or her is experiencing normal volume with the TV.
And how many of your clients, Mike, do this? Are they a bit gun shy to try it and think, I don't want to do that? Or once they've done it, they want everything paired to it?
Well, you have to take it slow with some patients because they're not that tech savvy. But again, more and more we see even seniors who have cell phones and want it all.
Yeah, and I guess once you have that clarity, you kind of get used to it, right?
Yeah. And like Mike says, you introduce people one thing at a time. I mean, you can't be fitting someone with a pair of hearing aids and then have all these accessory devices. It's a too tight shoe or it's a too full ship. There's too much. And so I first would fit the person with the hearing aids. After a week or two, when the person comes back to see me, I'll mention other devices that work with the hearing aid.
Right, let's try one.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, that's Dr. Ted Venema from NexGen Hearing. Mike Henwood's in studio as well from the downtown Victoria NexGen location. When we come back, we're going to find out a little bit about Mike's experience fitting people with these devices and the different kinds of programs that are available. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.